Welcome to Loco Gringo, Mexico, the place where we transform a tourist into a traveler, because you deserve to see more of the world than just what's in a guidebook. Each week, we talk with amazing locals who know the Riviera Maya and Yucatan like only a local can, and get them to share their tips and insights on the local scene, culture, and cuisine from a local's perspective. So, pour yourself a margarita, grab a comfy chair, and let's get the show going.
Hi, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to Loco Gringo, Mexico. I'm your host, Kay Walton. Well, today we're going to be talking to a photographer here in Playa del Carmen, Matt Adcock, and he has had a love for photography ever since he used to watch his grandfather take photos. Matt is an award-winning photojournalist. He's among the top 10 wedding photographers in the world, according to American Photo magazine. And he's been designated as a wedding trailblazer by the Huffington Post with his innovations with the Trash the Dress photography theme. Matt is just one of the most creative people and innovative photographers here in the Riviera Maya, and I'm so glad he had time in his schedule to chat with us today to share his passions for the area and a few of his favorite things that you can enjoy on your next vacation. Hey, everybody, I've got Matt here on the phone. Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Hi, Kay. Good. I'm doing well this morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Hey, Matt, I'm so thrilled. I know you're a busy guy and a super busy photographer over at Del Sol, and I'm really glad you could find some time this morning to talk with us. And, you know, I don't think I'm never too shy to tell everybody that Del Sol Photography and you are my faves on the coast. I know I shouldn't say that, but you certainly are. And I love you guys a whole lot. And I wanted you to kind of share with our listeners a little bit about you and your story and how you wound up in the Riviera Maya, because I think it's a great story because you've traveled all over the world, yet you've chosen to make your home here in Mexico. So if you can tell us your journey, that'd be awesome.
Okay, yeah, sure. Well, thank you for those kind words and the nice introduction. And hello, Loco Gringo audience. And I'm an avid listener myself, so it's cool to be here in this position. I'm really humbled by that call. Well, my name is Matt Adcock, and I come from Atlanta, Georgia. And I did a little event down in Atlanta, Georgia in the South. And one day this client told me, it was a pre-wedding photo shoot, like, hey, you should come to Mexico. And I was like, what? Well, let me do your wedding in Mexico. And they're like, no, we already hired someone there. And I was like, oh, okay. But you should meet that person. And I pursued them, and I pursued that, and one thing led to another. And I found myself in 2005 visiting Cancun back and forth. And it was during the Hurricane Wilma days. And I met Sol Tamargo, and we started Del Sol Photography, and we really just started on this adventure and a journey, and it's been an amazing ride. It really has been. And I live now in Playa del Carmen, and we run Del Sol, which is a team of, it's growing every week. I mean, sometimes we hire, last month we hired 3 people. But we're growing and expanding and doing photography and the wedding-related world, but we're also expanding because we're travelers and adventurers, and I don't know, being in the Yucatan Peninsula, let's call it, for the last 10 years, and traveling around and just getting to know the culture, learning to speak Spanish, learning the ways, because you have to learn the ways here in order to appreciate them. Otherwise, most Americans find impatience with that. And I don't know, one thing led to another, and I've been here as a photographer and on an adventure journey and having a pretty cool life. I mean, I think I have a dream job.
Well, I think I know watching your photos and kind of keeping up with you on Facebook and everything, it does look like you have a dream job for sure.
I get to do things that people are coming down here paying money to do on a tour. Like maybe that's a once-off bucket list item that they're going to do once, and I'm exposed to it every single day. I mean, what? How is that possible? But that's what's happening.
Well, let me ask you, Matt. I mean, I know that you get to do a lot of cool things with your job. I mean, do you see yourself doing this? I mean, this is the photography the absolute passion, or is it interwoven with, the nature of the area and the people and the culture? I mean, do you find that it's really the fabric of all of those passions coming together that makes your life here so enriching and your work so breathtaking?
Wow, yes. I am enriched in the culture and the speed of life, let's just call it. And whenever I leave, and I love to travel, and whenever I go back to the U.S. or I go to Canada or in South America, I haven't been to Europe yet. It's on the bucket list. But whenever I get out, I always kind of miss this place. And I remember specifically coming back from Cuba in 2012. And it was fun. It was cool. I mean, we did some cool photos, and Sol got a really cool shot that ended up on the cover of National Geographic from there. And we were hired by the senior creative director of Adobe Photoshop. His name is Russell Brown, to go photograph his nephew. And that was a beautiful time and a crazy experience. But coming back, I kissed the ground in Mexico because I love this place. And Cuba just is it was nice and cool and eye candy for any photographer, but the hospitality, the culture, the food here, wow. So I don't know, all those things inspire me to be connected to a sensory organism that's like taking pictures. I mean, I really want to my eyes are my guide, and I'm inspired by my senses and what's around me, and this place just pushes my senses into hyperdrive.
Now, a question for you, because you've traveled a lot. I know you've been around the country of Mexico. I know your heart's here in the Riviera Maya, but are there some areas in Mexico that you really are inspired by and love and would want to go back to?
Oh my goodness, there are so many of those areas that are explored and not explored on my current path. I was super inspired by Chiapas. I mean, it's for everyone that's traveling to Mexico. Chiapas is a very, very large state in the south, and you can drive from Playa del Carmen and be at the Palenque ruins in a day. 8 hours, I think. I did it, and it's like that place. You could spend a whole month and still not even begin to take it in. And there's so many different indigenous cultures there, and I think it's the state with the most original languages, and that's getting to know real Mexico. So that place is amazing. And then all of the cities that I've ever visited that are classified as very old and colonial, San Miguel de Allende. It's centrally located in Mexico. That place is an eye candy to go back to, and it's in the state of is it Leon, or in the city? Is it Leon is the state, or is it Guanajuato? I'm not sure, but Guanajuato is incredible. Day trips around the countryside, visiting mines and old colonial towns, and the legends that are tied into some of these places and little streets in Guanajuato. They call them callejones. I said that kind of gringo accent, but callejones. And they're like little tiny streets, and that you don't drive cars. It's only walking because it's buildings next to a building, and they have legends about lovers from one balcony to the other and things that happen between them. And there's legends everywhere you look. And again, I keep going back to it. The culture is what makes me remember the place. And I love visiting anywhere colonial in Mexico, but close to Riviera Maya, close to the Yucatan, for sure. Recommendation number one is day trip it, or just get out of here for 3 days, 5 days, and go to the Chiapas, state of Chiapas, and there's a plethora of excitement there.
No, Chiapas is beautiful, and I haven't gotten to spend near enough time there. And I keep always saying I'm going to get back there, and I never do because I have got my roots here in the Riviera Maya. Well, Matt, we can talk about. We certainly know that Chiapas and Oaxaca all have wonderful cultures. Have you found? What have you found in your travels here in terms of the Yucatan Peninsula? We've got the Mayan culture, we've got the Mexican culture, and then we have especially in Playa del Carmen, which is just a a big collection of a lot of different cultures of people who have moved here from Europe, from South America.
Okay.
So what have you found? I mean, how have you seen the culture evolve? Oh, I can hear the birds. Can you hear the birds in the background?
Yeah, I'm in the jungle right now a little bit, kind of walking around, and there's a lot of animals. But
very cool.
Culture, what is the culture that ties into
the Yucatan? How have you found that? Yeah, how have you found that to be inspiring? And it's a really, I mean, it's a lot different than, say, the Lacandon Indians in Chiapas, and some of the other cultures. But we have our own unique blend of culture here in the Yucatan.
Oh, it's beautiful, and I say getting off the beaten path here and doing some exploring, you're going to bump noses with that culture. I mean, instantly. And the people are very humble and very. I'm talking about pull up into a neighborhood with straight lean-to houses, where sticks and tin roofs with certainly no climate-controlled air conditioning or anything like that, and big huge vats, pots on their like rustic wooden like log stoves, and they're cooking up something amazing. And you could just pull up and ask them where's this place or where, and they go, well, first, like, come in and try this taco, and you're wait, what, really? And that's just something that I mean, just right outside of the Riviera Maya, there's so many little Mayan towns, little villages full of that kind of culture and that kind of treatment from people here, because they're just as humble, they're as happy as they can be, which makes them very humble and very giving and very likable humans. And that's, I can't explain it. And that's just like passed down and passed down and passed down from like tons of ancestors. So that culture is amazing. And of course, the Mayan culture, the ancient civilization, and the stories that are behind some of that stuff. And I don't know, try to figure out if you come to this region, some sort of a tour or a plan to go meet a shaman and have him talk about some experience. And I can specifically recall the last shaman that we encountered was talking about his special trove of treasures that were relics from his ancestors, his prehistoric, like we're talking 500, 600, 700, I don't know how many year old ancestors, clay pots or offerings that he's afraid that the tourist or that the tour push might take away from him. So, and just to hear him and watch his eyes light up about this culture and this find and the way things were and some of their beliefs and the way of being is like, that's pretty awesome. And it's readily available all around this region. So that's kind of the thing I go back to. And I don't know, I could talk forever, but my favorite mix of the culture is knowing that the ancient civilization of the Mayans came here because of what the land was giving them. And the land here is pretty beautiful throughout the Yucatan. It's a jungle in the tropics. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And the fresh water, let me just back up. The water, whether it be ocean water or the freshwater aquifer system here, it is enough to blow someone's mind into another like world. I mean, really, it is so amazing that you can go spend an entire day visiting these freshwater aquifers. And I'm sure that the listeners to your channel have heard people talk about the cenotes. Cenote, it's like a sinkhole. Yeah, there's big variety of the different kinds. They're everywhere. Some of them are called pit cenotes, and they're basically this tube, like a straw-shaped tunnel that could go down hundreds of meters, and that's 300 feet for the gringo side of that. I've converted into meters, and I really like that. But the depth of these things and the shape and some of them are like literally you can throw a little leaf on the surface and watch it go from right to left because there's a current flying by. And it's because it's an aquifer, really. It's a flowing river system underground, and there's thousands and thousands, and let me just jump out there and say hundreds of thousands, certainly unexplored and uncharted, little openings where these aquifers meet the surface. and they call those cenotes here. And the cenotes were a major pull for the ancient Mayans. The Mayans came here and they saw these cenotes as portals to their underworld. And the sacred tree that they all worship here is called the ceiba tree. And there's so many different species of the ceiba, but the ceiba grows huge, tall, and it's old. And the tree it even looks amazing and burly. It's got spikes on it, and certain times of years, the amazing pink flowers erupt and bloom, and thousands of bats and birds and toucans. I mean, the amazing wildlife here lands on these trees. The Mayans used the flowers for decorations in their plumage and their headdresses. And at the end of the day, the Mayans worshiped these trees because their roots were connections to their underworld, to the cenotes, the aquifers, and reached the heavens quicker so they could channel their gods through the cenotes, through the roots of the ceiba tree, up to the heavens. And it's just, to know that, and it's everywhere around, brings this euphoric, oh my God, I'm in paradise. What is this place? I can't believe it exists. And then there's hundreds of thousands to go find. Like, wow. So to me, I've been so drawn to that, and it sort of adapted the way Matt, the photographer, lives his life, because with Sol, my business partner, we decided to throw just heaps and heaps and heaps of money into the stupid, crazy, expensive camera systems to go underwater and photograph these epic, mind-boggling portals, connections to the underworlds, the biggest freshwater, literally the largest freshwater cave system in the world is here. And that just rips my mind apart. So I have not been able to leave. Oh, and by the way, if you're interested in the Caribbean Ocean, it's a mine job too. You know, it's kind of like, it's like.
Oh, by the way.
By the way, yeah, I don't know. Stop me, because I could go on for days.
Well, and I know I've seen some great pictures. You've had great opportunities to go to photograph and swim with the whale sharks, because they come in every year off the top of the Yucatan Peninsula, and that's and that's an amazing experience. Can you tell us on what and how you felt and what it's like to be out with the whale sharks?
Oh man, yes, I would love to. Well, that is just unexplainable until you do it, and I'm not sure how much longer we're going to have the opportunity to do it, because I kind of see a cusp where tourism is kind of encroaching on the natural habitat of these these freshwater, naturally arriving giants, because they're feeding. And I don't know, I really like it, but part of me is a little bit conflicted about being there because of the amount of boat traffic. And when it's high season, it's like a big tour to go do. And I would still recommend it. I would recommend that you practice awareness and don't touch these animals. Try to not interact with them by like stopping their direction. And I'm the guy that's in the water waiting for one to like come to me, and I've got my camera and run in front of his face. But on the other side of just after the awareness part, and it's just the pure magic of what it is, this huge giant feeding session. And from what I understand, there is a large spawning of a fish, and I'm not sure what it is, that produces this, like, let's call it a float of egg mass. And it's these tiny little bitty things, like tiny, tiny, tiny. When you get out, you kind of feel it on your arms and your wetsuit. And I mean, but they're there in the masses to eat this stuff. And not just the whale sharks, but the large manta rays, the big ones that are there that are like bigger than cars. They're flying around. And so that's what happened to me on my last experience is we were looking for the sharks, and sometimes they're not there, but sometimes there's a manta ray right there. And I got that experience. And I got it with a client who was paying me to be free. He was like a free diver, and his job was to come here, and he wanted to see and swim and go down and not touch these giants, but swim under them or swim around them and be in a position where we could actually take a scale picture of this person swimming next to the whale shark. So I saw a giant manta ray on my last experience, which was pretty cool. And I can't tell you how much the water comes back into my story, and that element is here. And I think there's one more tour out there that I would like to go and explore. It's the sailfish that come to feed on the bait balls out in the open ocean.
I've heard about that.
you spot it by looking for a bird gathering off the coast, and this bird gathering leads you to this bait ball. And I mean, I guess it's pretty risky and dangerous because there could be 20, 30, 50 sailfish. I don't know if they're sailfish or sword. I don't know.
I think they're sailfish.
Is what they call them here. Yeah, but they have this massive sword on their nose, you know? And it's like they attack at this unbelievable rate to take out this little bait ball. Meanwhile, birds are plowing down from above, and if you're a fisherman or if you're into that kind of natural feeding, it's like pretty an interesting thing that you can still do here and go out. And I think it's very seasonal. I want to say it's like nowish winter season. Maybe it's January, February. I'm not exactly sure. I've never done it. It's on the bucket list.
Well, if you do it, we definitely want to hear about. We want to hear about more adventures by Matt. That's for sure. No, I'll let you know. Published. I think shoot, the sailfish. I know that marlin run in March and April. I know there's a big fishing tournament in Puerto Aventuras for sport fishing, and so it may be February they come in or January. But I'll definitely look that up because I know that people have been observing the sailfish phenomena, and I haven't had the opportunity, but it's on my bucket list just like it's on yours because it sounds like just an amazing experience.
For sure, yeah. There's a lot, and that's going back to amazing experiences. And I was answering a question about the cenotes and the Mayans, and by the way, there's also the Caribbean. One of the things that ties me here, when I said I come back from other countries and I miss this place, is that bucket list to go do all those things is still waiting for me to go explore and find. It's like, I've been here for 10 years, and there are tourists that come here for 10 years. And if you're only here for a week or two, just imagine like living here and not being able to do everything. There's so much to do here. I mean, really, I cannot say that in a better way. The tourism, that's why tourism is popular in the Riviera Maya. That's basically it. There is so much to see and explore, and that's been one of my new little side deals. And it's not really a side deal because we explore locations frequently and look for spots to maybe bring our clients and show them this new epic piece of paradise. And we look for things that are adventurous. And we found this place recently that has several platforms. It's a cenote that's near Puerto Morelos in the Ruta de los Cenotes. And I'm just going to throw the name out there, people. Kinha. That's KIN-HA. So Kinha is the group, and this place has like 12 cenotes on it. So you can go to 1, 2, 3, and they're all different, all mine jobs. And the name of the one that has the platforms escapes me. Sorry, but I know that the group is Kinha, and you pay for each one or whatever. And I went there with a couple friends of mine, and I brought the drone, I brought some GoPros, and I was going to film underwater, and I was doing all this discovery stuff, and we were jumping off these. They have 2 zip lines into the cenote, and they've got like 5 platforms, and the tallest platform is 24 up. Hello, people. That's 60, 70 feet to jump into the cenote. And this thing, I mean, I woke up the next morning after jumping, and I'm not going to lie and say my buttocks was hurting. I was like, what's going on? My whole butt hurt. It wasn't like it was because I landed. I mean, I'm 40 years old, and I'm not the youngest that I was back in the day when I was doing adventure things. But anyway, just wow. I went to the bottom of this cenote, and we're talking in some places it's 7 meters, 20, 30 feet deep. And I'm a big free diver. I love free diving. It's a meditation. It's a healing process. I just learn a lot about myself when I go free diving. I love it. And I was free diving with a camera, and I found a GoPro on the bottom of the cenote. I found a bunch of stuff. I found $30 in cash, room keys. I found a rosary. I left the rosary hanging on the thing, and I tipped the guy the cash. And I brought this GoPro home. Now, I do not have a need for another GoPro. I got 4, literally. And every year, GoPro's coming out with a new one anyway. I mean, I even got employees that work for GoPro that come, clients, past clients that come down here, and they hook me up with great GoPros because they're always upgrading. So I don't need another one. So I downloaded this card, and I have started a mission to try to recover the owners of this GoPro.
Oh, that's cool.
So coming soon, and I'm going to ask the Loco Gringo people, followers and friends, is to, do a good one and pay it forward and help us share this content to locate these. And I got a whole documentary of their vacation. And this camera was lost on January 4th, 2013, in the bottom of this pit I don't know if it was the end of their vacation or what, but I don't have too many photos. And I've got them at a hotel, so I'm trying to triangulate. Hey, they stayed at this hotel. Their friends look like this and this and this, and I've got all their pictures. And the ultimate nugget is the gentleman that lost the camera and his last jump off the top platform. And he's giving himself a selfie like on his wrist, and he's going, "Whoa!" And then he jumps. Woo! I mean, and it's kind of like a 35 or 40 second clip, because once he loses it, you can actually hear this like noise from the surface, like, oh shit, I just lost my $400 camera. And this thing goes to the bottom. And it literally documents its entire descent until you literally see tree stumps and leaves and matter, and like there's a bunch of lily pads in this thing, and it plops into the mud. And here we are 3 years later. I want to find these people.
Well, I think we could come up with a blog post, Matt. We can put it on our blog, of course, and our Loco Gringo forums and everything. And let's see if we can. We get our peeps to see if we can track down these people. Who knows? It could have been one of our guests somewhere. But let's see if we can make somebody's day and say, hey, Matt found your camera, and by the grace of the universe, we were able to track you down.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome to me. And I know that this has happened before. We were part of there was a gentleman that found a wedding ring, and he ended up sharing it on social media. And that's cool how the world is today.
Did they ever find that? Did they ever find that? Yeah. The people who lost that ring? I remember the story. I saw it on Facebook and on Twitter.
Yeah, so Gringo found it, a young guy. He found it on the bottom, out in front of Playa, and I don't know, 30, 40 feet of water. And there was an inscription on the ring that says, like, it was an acronym, and it was TTEY. I don't know, it's in Spanish, and it's hard for me to do the acronym in Spanish, but it was Tu y yo contra el mundo, which means me and you against the world. And it got connected to them. I mean, George Takai, am I saying his name? He shared it. He was a former Star Trek dude. A lot of people shared it, and these people they found them, and they came back, and they did a ceremony for them, and it was really, really cool. So social media can certainly do amazing things, and I don't know, our business survives in a word-of-mouth world. That's what we do. We don't have contracts, and we're not situated in any big hotel. We're just out there doing what we love, doing our best at it, and trying to be good at it. Trying to help out. And I see the lost GoPro as like the next cool story to try to bring some attention to finding these people who, came here to this amazing paradise, did some amazing adventure things with an amazing adventure camera. Hey, GoPro, can you help us find these people? And they lost the camera, so. I don't know.
Well, let's see what we can work on together to find.
To help out.
More than happy to. I think it's a great story, and we'll have to sit down and see what we can do to help you find the owners of this GoPro. Matt. Well, Matt, I always love talking to you, and why don't you tell us how people can reach out to you, especially if you've lost a GoPro on January 4th, 2013. But how can people find you, track you down? And you definitely want to read Matt's blog for Del Sol Photography. Great blog and just incredible photos, especially Trash the Dress series is one of the best. I always love to watch. Makes me want to be dressed up as a bride and do a shoot.
Or Superwoman.
Or Superwoman, and that's a whole nother story. But Matt, how can people connect with you?
Well, thank you for offering the reach out. I am on pretty much all the social networks, and my full name, well, most of my online media is under Matt Adcock, and that's Adcock. So I'm on Instagram, matt.adcock, Facebook as well, matt.adcock, and I even have a Google Plus account with tons of portfolio and stuff I'm posting online there. I'm pretty searchable. And tie me with Del Sol Photography. I'm one of the co-founders of it. So I've categorized all of my shoots there, and I'm a wedding photographer by day and a nature and wildlife and landscape photographer by night. Really, it's kind of a joke, but I do a little bit of everything. And I just don't want to say that like my only niche is weddings, because while I love it and I enjoy it, I really only take very limited bookings for very specific or special referral, or I call them legacy clients, people that are coming back for something else after they hired me 10 years ago. I'm doing that again in December. I'm doing a 10-year anniversary vow renewal for a client, and it's beautiful. So I'm available for hire through Del Sol, or I'm also a consultant commercial photographer / Matone Productions.
Okay.
is my new venture. So Matone Productions. And Matone is kind of a play on words for me, and Matt, M-A-T-T, obviously, and then the O-N. And when you translate that to Spanish, it means killer. So it's not like to be a Matone is probably like a mafia guy almost. But I'm really just like out to kill it and out to do my best job. So I'm kind of like tying my gringo side into it. And I'm just, if you understand it, you understand it. If you don't, but I'm sorry that you got lost in understanding it, you know? So Matone Production is my new venture.
Wonderful.
And Matone Productions is congruently working with Del Sol too. So I'm just a consultant, a producer, video production, whatever it is. I'm doing a lot of business-related activities that involve startups and new companies and basically
awesome.
Small companies. I'm pretty good at marketing and that kind of thing. So thank you for the ability to reach out to your listeners. I really appreciate that, Kate.
And in our show notes, that it will be on our website at locogringo.com/podcasts. We'll have links over to your websites, Matt, and so people can find you. There'll be links they can just click right over, check you out on all your social media profiles, over to your website, over to Matone Productions, over to Del Sol. So no, we'll make sure people can find you. Under development. Okay.
The website is. It's like not there, really there. I mean, it's there, but it's not the content isn't there yet. So be patient with me on that. I'm busy on a lot of things, but thank you for that opportunity.
Oh no, and I would love to, if you're open for it. I know we're all going into our busy winter season here in the Riviera Maya, but I hope that you can be a guest on our show again, because I love talking to you. I love the stories that you share and your experiences. And you know what? Someday I'm going to ask if I can maybe carry your camera bag and go out on one of your adventures with you. I can be a good grip. I can be a grip.
I love it. And as a matter of fact, that's one of the future offerings from our travel side is literally we will be offering personalized tours to, if you want to learn how to take pictures, boom, let's go learn how to take pictures. If you want to see us do amazing adventures and take photos of amazing places, that's an available tour as well. So we're going to be selling what we do in that very way, literally, and making it available for everyone. We're not just wedding photographers. We're like explorers and tour guides and teachers and mentors. So super duper excited to put that out and see what happens.
Please give us all your information. Maybe we can also have our concierge work with some of our guests that may want to be on some of your tours and adventures. That's for sure. But Matt, thank you. I can't thank you enough for your time today. It's just a joy.
It would be a huge honor.
Great. Thank you.
Well, a big muchas gracias to Matt, and a big thank you for all of you for tuning in today. If you are on vacation or know someone who was in the Riviera Maya in early January of 2013 who lost a GoPro camera while jumping into a cenote, please reach out to Matt or myself, ask@locogringo.com, so we can get that camera back to its rightful owner. It would be quite the surprise. You can visit today's show notes at locogringo.com/podcast. There'll be contact information and links over to Matt's website, as well as a list of all the great places that he mentioned today that you can check out on your next trip. Until next week, everyone. Hasta la vista.
Thanks for listening. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe. For links, show notes, and more information, head on over to locogringo.com or give us a call toll-free at 800-478-0081.
Porque se tragó la luna, estaba enferma la rana. Su madre soba que soba, dedos de pluma la panza. Pensó ranita que luna era una toronja blanca. Y aunque la luna es de leche, la leche estaba cortada. Croa, croa, dedos de pluma. Croa, croa, dedos de agua.